There are rooms in the hospital you're never meant to see. You pass them in the hallway, not thinking twice. But if you knew what really goes on behind those swinging doors, you might never look at doctors the same way again. This story isn't fiction. It's based on real events told by someone who witnessed it and barely made it out. It started with a routine transfer. 23-year-old Ifeanyi Okoro, a third-year medical student, had just been approved to assist in the OR at General Hospital, Enugu. It was supposed to be a 3-week surgical rotation observation, not involvement. But his first week was nothing like what he expected. On day 1, the chief surgeon, Dr. Emeka, gave him a firm warning: what you see in the theater stays in the theater. Understood. At first, Ifeanyi thought it was about patient confidentiality, but soon, he began to realize, it meant something else. Surgery days were always long, but on Thursdays, it was different. Every Thursday evening, between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m., the OR would go into lockdown. No students allowed, no nurses except a select 3, and one peculiar anesthesiologist, Dr. Marku, who didn't work any other day of the week. One Thursday, curiosity got the best of Ifeanyi. He pretended to leave but circled back through a secondary corridor that connected to the supply closet beside operating room 3. Quietly, he positioned himself between a rack of scrubs and 4 bags, peeking through a crack in the sliding metal door. That's when he saw it. A man, already under anesthesia, being wheeled in. Nothing unusual until they shut off the security cameras manually. A nurse unhooked the OR system, and Dr. Emeka locked the internal doors with a key. From his hidden spot, Ifeanyi watched in horror as they began the procedure. Except it wasn't like anything he had studied. There was no surgical prep, no scrubbing, just a silent, synchronized routine that looked rehearsed like a ritual. They didn't operate immediately. Instead, they spoke in whispers, circled the patient, and injected a dark-colored fluid that didn't resemble any approved anesthetic. Then Dr. Marku said something that chilled Ifeanyi to his bones: extract only what you need. We don't want another incident like last time. That night, they didn't remove an appendix. They didn't perform a hernia repair. They took something else. Something they stored in a locked cryo box labeled "Do Not Touch" or 3. The next morning, Ifeanyi returned early before anyone else. He knew what he had seen. He had to confirm it. He hacked the OR door with a stolen magnetic pass card from a janitor and went straight to the storage cabinet. Inside the cryo box were sealed containers, 6 of them, labeled with patient numbers, but no names. He opened one. Inside floated something that looked like a pituitary gland. But why store that? Why no documentation? And why were the patient's files wiped from the system days after surgery? He took a photo, closed the lid, and ran. By the next day, the hospital had changed. People noticed him. Dr. Emeka called him in for a private review. "You're very bright," the surgeon said. "Too bright to get lost in unnecessary investigations. You're dismissed from the OR rotation, effective immediately." That night, Ifeanyi's hostel room was broken into. Nothing was taken except his phone, the one that had the photos. He tried to report it, but the hospital denied any knowledge of the incident. 2 weeks later, he was transferred to a different hospital. No explanation, no appeal. Years passed. Ifeanyi graduated, moved to another country, but the nightmares stayed. The image of those sealed containers, the whispered words, the man on the table who might never have woken up. Eventually, he wrote his account anonymously, and a journalist leaked it online. Within days, it went viral. The hospital denied everything. Dr. Emeka vanished. Dr. Marku's license was suspended for unrelated charges. The OR was under renovation for years, but Ifeanyi still receives unmarked emails, sometimes with photos. One even had just 3 chilling words: "You saw too much." Behind the curtain, not every surgery is what it seems. The operating room is a place of healing, but in some places, it becomes a chamber of secrets. So the next time you pass an door, remember, sometimes, what's behind the curtain is better left unseen. Subscribe for more real-life hospital mysteries, spine-chilling encounters, and medical drama like you've never heard before.